Both engines are dead. 90 seconds after takeoff. 2,800 feet over New York City. 155 people on board. Captain Sullenberger looks at the instrument panel. Zero thrust. Zero power. The aircraft is falling. He has 3 minutes, maybe less. The Hudson River is directly below, freezing, full of ice, full of boats. It's his only option. January 15, 2009. 3:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. US Airways Flight 1549 has just struck a flock of Canada geese over the Bronx. An Airbus A320. Both engines have failed simultaneously. The aircraft is descending rapidly toward one of the most densely populated areas on Earth. Inside the cockpit are 2 pilots, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, 57, First Officer Jeffrey Skiles, 49. Behind them, 150 passengers, 3 flight attendants. None of them know it yet, but they have less than 4 minutes before impact. The flight was supposed to be routine. LaGuardia to Charlotte, 90-minute flight, but at 3:27:11 everything changed. The bird strike disabled both turbofan engines. Total loss of thrust. The aircraft became a glider over the most populated city in America. No engine power means no hydraulics at full capacity, limited electrical systems. And gravity is now the only force moving this aircraft forward. Sullenberger and Skiles have 208 seconds to solve an impossible problem: how to land a commercial airliner with no engines, no suitable runway in range, and no time to think. The cockpit voice recorder captured everything, every word, every decision, every second of those final 3.5 minutes. This is what happened inside that cockpit. 3 minutes earlier, everything was normal. Flight 1549 pushed back from Gate 8 at LaGuardia at 3:03 p.m. a cold Thursday afternoon. Temperature 20 degrees Fahrenheit, clear skies, light winds, standard winter day in New York. Sullenberger had arrived early. He always did. 19,000 flight hours over 40 years. Former Air Force fighter pilot, safety consultant, glider pilot. He'd spent his entire career preparing for emergencies he hoped would never come. Skiles was on his first flight in the A320. He'd just completed training to transition from the Boeing 737. 23 years of commercial flying experience. This was supposed to be a routine familiarization flight. The 3 flight attendants, Donna Dent, Doreen Welsh, Sheila Dale, prepared the cabin, all veterans, thousands of flights between them, safety demonstration, checking seat belts, the routine nobody pays attention to. At 3:24:56, air traffic control cleared Flight 1549 for takeoff from runway 4. Skiles advanced the throttles. The Airbus accelerated, lifted off, climbed northeast over Queens. At 3:25:51, Skiles made the first radio call. 700, climbing 5,000. Departure control responded. Climb and maintain 15,000. Sullenberger acknowledged. Maintain 15,000, Cactus 1549. Inside the cockpit, the 2 pilots ran through the after-takeoff checklist. Flaps up, climb power set, everything operating normally. Both CFM56 engines running perfectly, all systems green. Sullenberger glanced out the window. What a view of the Hudson today. Skiles agreed, yeah. 3:26:37. They had 34 seconds of normal flight left. At 3:27:10, Sullenberger saw them, dark shapes ahead, moving fast, a large flock, Canada geese, dozens of them flying in formation at 2,800 feet. Birds, he said. There was no time to maneuver, no time to climb or descend. The geese were there, right in front of them. Whoa, Skiles said. The windscreen turned dark brown, multiple impacts, loud thuds through the fuselage. The sound of metal tearing. Both engines ingesting birds simultaneously. Passengers heard bangs, saw flashes of fire from the engine cowlings, smelled something burning, something wrong. In the cockpit, the engine instruments told the story. Both N1 readings collapsing, thrust falling, the stick shaker activated, warning lights flooded the panel. Oh shit, Skiles said. Oh yeah, Sullenberger replied. The background sound changed. That constant hum of jet engines, the sound every pilot hears without hearing, went quiet. Both turbofans were winding down, no thrust, no power. "We got one rolling back," Sullenberger said, watching the displays. "Both of them rolling back." The Airbus was still climbing, but momentum was all it had now. In seconds it would reach its apex. Then it would start falling. Sullenberger acted immediately. "Ignition, start." He activated the engine igniters. "I'm starting the APU." The auxiliary power unit. Emergency backup power. They'd need it. "My aircraft," Sullenberger said, taking control. "Your aircraft," Skiles confirmed. Sullenberger pushed the nose down slightly. Maintaining airspeed was critical. Without speed, they had no lift. Without lift, they'd drop like a stone. "Get the QRH," he told Skiles. "The quick reference handbook. Loss of thrust on both engines." At 3:27:32, 21 seconds after the bird strike, Sullenberger keyed the radio. His voice was calm, measured, professional. "Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is a Cactus 1539. Hit birds. We've lost thrust on both engines. We're turning back towards LaGuardia." Air traffic controller Patrick Harton heard the transmission at New York TRACON. He responded immediately. "Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading 220. 220, Sullenberger confirmed. But he was already running calculations. They were at 3,000 feet, descending. LaGuardia was behind them, miles away, across urban Queens, apartment buildings, schools, streets full of people. Skiles pulled out the QRH, started reading the checklist. "If fuel remaining, engine mode selector, ignition." "Ignition," Sullenberger confirmed. "Thrust levers confirm idle." "Idle." "Airspeed optimum relight. 300 knots, we don't have that." "We don't." The checklist was written for high-altitude engine failures. Time to troubleshoot, time to restart. They had no altitude, no time. At 3:27:42, Harton offered runway 13 at LaGuardia. "Cactus 1529 if we can get it for you. Do you want to try to land runway 13? Sullenberger looked at the altitude. They were passing through 1,900 feet, descending at over 1,000 feet per minute. He did the math in his head. Glide ratio, distance, obstacles. "We're unable," he radioed back. "We may end up in the Hudson." Inside the cockpit, Skiles continued working the checklist. "Emergency electrical power. Emergency generator not online." "It's online," Sullenberger said. The left engine was showing slight signs of life. N1 rising slightly. Maybe they could get partial power. Maybe one engine could restart. "ATC notify," Skiles read. "Squawk 7700. "Yeah," Sullenberger said. "The left one's coming back up a little bit." But it wasn't enough. The N1 was fluctuating, unstable, not producing thrust. At 3:28:31, Harton offered another option. "Cactus 1529. Runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4. Sullenberger was watching the altimeter. They were at 1,500 feet now, still falling. "I'm not sure we can make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro." Harton contacted Teterboro Airport immediately, got clearance. "Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. You want to try and go to Teterboro?" "Yes," Sullenberger said, but even as he said it, he was still calculating, still watching the altitude. They were at 1,200 feet. Teterboro was miles away. More buildings, more neighborhoods. If they didn't make it, if they fell short, hundreds could die on the ground. At 3:29:21, Harton came back. "Cactus 1529, turn right 280. You can land runway 1 at Teterboro." Sullenberger had made his decision. "We can't do it." "Which runway would you like at Teterboro?" "We're gonna be in the Hudson." The words were matter of fact. No panic, no emotion, a statement of fact. They were landing in the river. There was no other option. Harton couldn't believe what he'd heard. "I'm sorry, say again, Cactus." But Sullenberger was done talking to air traffic control. He was focused entirely on the approach now. The Hudson River stretched ahead, gray water, chunks of ice, ferry boats crossing, commercial traffic. Skiles was still working the restart checklist. Engine Master 2 back on. Back on, Sullenberger confirmed. On. They were trying everything. Cycling switches, following procedures, but nothing was working. No relight, Skiles said. The terrain warning system started screaming. Too low, terrain, caution, terrain, terrain, pull up, pull up. Sullenberger ignored it. He wasn't pulling up. He was aiming for the river. They were at 1,000 feet, still descending. The George Washington Bridge passed overhead. Air traffic control later estimated they cleared it by less than 900 feet. "Okay, let's go put the flaps out," Sullenberger said. "Put the flaps out." Flaps would slow them, give more control, but also increase drag, make them descend faster. Every decision was a trade-off now. "Flaps out," Skiles asked, confirming. "Yes." Got flaps out. They were at 500 feet. The Hudson was right there, getting closer, boats. Buildings on both shores, ice on the surface. 250 feet in the air, Skiles said, reading the altimeter. The terrain warnings intensified. Too low, gear, caution, terrain. 170 knots, Skiles reported. Got no power on either one. Sullenberger asked, "Try the other one." "Try the other one." They were still trying to restart, still working the problem, but they were out of time, out of altitude. At 3:29:11, Sullenberger keyed the cabin intercom. Same calm voice, same professional tone. "This is the captain, brace for impact." In the cabin, passengers heard those words. Flight attendants started shouting, "Brace, brace, heads down, stay down." 150 knots, Skiles said. "Got flaps too, you want more?" "No, let's stay at 2, Sullenberger said. They were at 200 feet. The river filled the entire windscreen. Sullenberger was holding the aircraft level, wings parallel to the water, nose slightly up, maintaining precise control with minimal electrical power and degraded flight controls. "Got any ideas?" he asked Skiles. "Actually not," Skiles replied. "We're gonna brace," Sullenberger said. The terrain warnings were constant now. "Pull up, pull up, pull up." Sullenberger pulled back on the side stick, raising the nose just a few degrees. The tail would touch first, then the fuselage. He had to land it flat, any angle, and the aircraft would cartwheel, break apart, 50 feet, 30 feet. The water was right there. The automated voice called out, "Retard." At 3:30:43, the Airbus A320 hit the Hudson River. The impact was massive. The fuselage slammed into the water at 150 miles per hour. The tail struck first. Water exploded upward. The aircraft skipped, came down again. The belly tore open. Water poured through cracks in the hull. Passengers were thrown forward against seat belts. Overhead bins popped. Bags flew. The noise was deafening, metal tearing, water smashing against aluminum. Then the plane stopped. Floating, mostly intact. Sullenberger and Skiles sat motionless for a split second. They'd done it. They were down. The aircraft was in one piece, but there was no time to rest. Water was already flooding the rear cabin. "Evacuate," Sullenberger said. The flight attendants were already shouting. "Get out, move." Passengers unbuckled, stood, pushed toward exits. Water was shin-deep in the back, rising fast. In the cockpit, Sullenberger shut down systems, APU, fuel, everything that could cause a fire or explosion. Then he stood, walked into the cabin. Water was waist-deep in the rear. He waded through it, checking every row, every seat, every bathroom, calling out, listening, making sure no one was trapped. He walked the entire cabin twice, front to back to front, confirming what he needed to know. Everyone was out. Finally, he climbed onto the wing, the last person to leave the aircraft. 155 people were out, alive, on the wings, in the water, on rescue boats already arriving. He looked at Skiles. No words needed. They'd just done the impossible. The aircraft was sinking. The tail was underwater. The nose pointed up, but everyone was out. Rescue ferries were pulling passengers from the water. NY Waterway, Coast Guard, NYPD Harbor Patrol. Within minutes, 14 ferries and multiple emergency vessels converged on the crash site. Passengers stood on the wings in freezing water. Some slid into the river. The temperature was 36 degrees. Air temperature 20 degrees. Hypothermia was setting in fast, but the boats kept coming. Ferry crews through lines pulled people up, one by one, soaking, shivering, but alive. Adelaide Horton, 77, was lifted aboard a ferry. Ben Bostic clung to the wing until a rescue boat reached him. Dave Sanderson, the last passenger off, helped others before climbing into the water himself. By 4:00 p.m., less than 30 minutes after impact, all 155 people were out of the water, rescued, safe. 5 serious injuries, 78 treated for minor injuries and hypothermia, but 0 fatalities. Not one person died. The investigation confirmed what the cockpit voice recorder showed. Sullenberger and Skiles had performed flawlessly under impossible conditions. The NTSB's final report, issued May 4, 2010, concluded the bird strike caused total loss of thrust in both engines. DNA testing confirmed at least 5 Canada geese, each weighing 8 to 10 pounds, were ingested into the engines. The impacts destroyed turbine blades and damaged compressor stages beyond any possibility of restart. The report praised the crew's decision-making. Attempting to return to LaGuardia or reach Teterboro would have resulted in the aircraft crashing into a populated area. The decision to ditch in the Hudson saved not only the lives of those on board, but potentially hundreds on the ground. Sullenberger's precise control during the water landing, maintaining exactly the right speed, pitch angle, and wings level attitude, was the difference between survival and catastrophe. The NTSB called it the most successful ditching in aviation history. The crew received the Master's Medal from the Guild of Air Pilots and Air Navigators. The citation read, "This emergency ditching and evacuation, with the loss of no lives, is a heroic and unique aviation achievement." The incident changed aviation worldwide. The FAA enhanced bird strike prevention programs. Airlines improved training on dual-engine failure and ditching procedures. Airports increased wildlife management efforts. The lessons from Flight 1549 became mandatory study material for pilots globally. The aircraft itself was recovered from the Hudson and preserved. It now sits in the Carolinas Aviation Museum in Charlotte, a testament to what's possible when training, experience, and calm decision-making meet impossible odds. For the 155 people on board, January 15, 2009, became a dividing line in their lives. Some struggled with PTSD. Others said the experience gave them perspective. Many stayed in touch, forming a survivors group that meets annually. But they all share one memory, the calm voice on the intercom. "This is the captain. Brace for impact." No panic, no fear, just a professional doing his job under the worst circumstances imaginable. Inside the cockpit of Flight 1549, 2 pilots faced a scenario that should have killed everyone. Dual engine failure at low altitude over a major city. No runway in range. No time to think. Just 208 seconds to make every decision correctly. And they did, not through luck, through decades of training, through experience that became instinct. Through following procedures even when procedures couldn't solve the problem. Through staying calm when panic would have been justified. Sullenberger later said he felt he was simply doing the job he'd trained his entire life to do. But his job that day was to save 155 lives with no engines and 3 minutes to decide where to land an aircraft that wasn't designed to land on water. The cockpit voice recorder captured it all, every word, every decision. A masterclass in crisis management compressed into 3.5 minutes. On January 15, 2009, the impossible became possible inside that cockpit. Because when both engines failed, everything else worked exactly as it should. The training, the procedures, the communication, the skill, and 155 people went home to their families that night because 2 pilots stayed calm when the engines went silent. That's what happened inside the cockpit when both engines failed.